Chu tamarindo? No. All right, we're rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to HijasdlChicanx, a podcast hosted by yours truly, Ritzy, and
Christy on this side. Hello, bienvenidos to HijasdlChicanx. De aquí y de allá. A conversation that turned into a beautiful reality, and I'm so happy to finally be in front of you.
I'm so happy to finally be in front of you recording in a studio, but I'm even more happy to finally see this idea come to fruition. I mean, we were talking about this casually, like a year ago?
It's ridiculous, but it doesn't feel like a year ago.
It doesn't, because this pandemic, I feel like, has been nothing really is changing, and we're all kind of stuck in this rut.
Yes, we started this as a simple conversation between two friends. In the beginning of the pandemic, our worlds were turned upside down, and we just felt like we wanted to create a community with individuals that have gone through the same things that we have gone through,
to share their lived experiences, to create this community with other Chicanx, to have a dialogue with, to unpack our identity, our culture, to dissect what it means to be Chicanx, and really to prod and to probe, but also to laugh.
Yes, to laugh.
To laugh and to cry and to embrace all those feelings.
We'll go into detail later why, we each feel like we could add a little bit of, I guess you could say, spice to this podcast. But
Fuego.
Fuego.
Yeah, I guess. Spice, I don't know.
So there's so many things that we want to share with you. But before doing so, we wanted to make this pilot episode to just kind of let you know who we are.
Yeah.
And before doing that,
we're going to share a really important clip that Christy shared with me initially, and she thought would be really clever to interweave with our first pilot episode.
Yes, this was a clip from a beautiful movie. Some may call it.
Some may say that you've overplayed it.
Some may say that I've overplayed it, but I don't care. Si me conocen bien, I love this movie.
I mean, we all love Selena.
We all love Selena, yes, our Tex-Mex queen. This is a clip from that movie in which I felt at a very young age that it spoke to my soul. This is Selena's dad talking about...
This is Selena's dad really unpacking, dissecting, probing, and questioning, but also kind of grappling with the concept of, Quienes somos, who are we? Are we Mexican enough? Are we not? Are we American enough? Really tackling the Chicanx culture and identity. And in it, he kind of talks about, what happens when you're born north of the border, and then when you go south of the border, are you Mexican enough? And
so many questions that come into play when you go to Mexico or cuando estás aquí,
or when you're here. Yeah.
Familia. Entonces, we felt like we needed to play this, and without further ado,
here we go.
Listen, being Mexican American is tough. Anglos jump all over you if you don't speak English perfectly. Mexicans jump all over you if you don't speak Spanish perfectly. We got to be twice as perfect as anybody else. Why are you laughing? What's so funny?
Nothing.
I'm serious.
Our
family has been here for centuries, and yet they treat us as if we just swam across the Rio Grande. I mean, we got to know about John Wayne and Pedro Infante. We got to know about Frank Sinatra and Agustin Lara. We got to know about Oprah and Cristina. Anglo food is too bland, and yet when we go to Mexico, we get the runs. Now, that to me is embarrassing.
No, Dad!
Japanese Americans, Italian Americans, German Americans, their homeland is on the other side of the ocean. Ours is right next door, right over there. And we got to prove to the Mexicans how Mexican we are, and we got to prove to the Americans how American we are. We got to be more Mexican than the Mexicans and more American than the Americans, both at the same time. It's exhausting. Man, nobody knows how tough it is to be a Mexican American.
It's exhausting. Powerful words by Mr. Olmos that never left my mind, and I strongly believe we can all relate to.
It is exhausting. All right, let's kick this off by answering the question, who the heck are we, and why are we the host for this podcast?
Quienes somos, and what gives us the right to stand in front of these mics and talk to you about Chicanx lived experiences. We're going to give you a little bit of insight. Ritzy, care to go first?
I'll go first, Christy. I am a scholar specializing in visual and material culture in Mexico and contemporary Chicanx visual culture. I know it's a mouthful, but I focus on the geopolitics of fashion, extractive economies, clothing and textiles, embodied experiences, and things like decolonial aesthetics. Christy?
Whereas on my side, I am a music girl.
Music guru.
Some may think of me as that. I come from a music touring, radio production, programming, promotion background, and I am also a makeup artist. And with that, I have taken it and ran with it and became a YouTube vlogger. There's a couple little things that we each do that we feel will tie beautifully into creating this podcast. We each kind of complement each other with
the yin and yang.
Yeah, yin and a yang. And yeah, I mean, later on we'll speak more about, you know, our backgrounds, but right now we kind of just want to hit our bases and explain the next thing. Why HijasdlChicanx?
Why the name that we gave our podcast?
¿Por qué ese nombre?
See, Christy and I started tossing names at each other several months ago, and I know that Chicana artists and writers use hija de la chingada and la chingada to reclaim this figure and to redefine Chicanx identity and femininity. And Christy and I thought that it would be an incredible podcast fit, not only because we're hijas, we're daughters, but as an act of empowerment and as a way to reclaim this term with an often like negative connotation.
It was just something that fit the podcast so perfectly, being that there's two of us, and we are representing a culture. And like she said, to take away from the negative of it, maybe you have that, you know, blur memory in your mind of your mom just saying hija o hijo de
from
la.
afar, yeah.
And we just want to take away the negative and really embrace our culture through a name that we know will resonate with many. So now that we answered that question, our next point is, what sort of content do we expect to produce? We want to share our lived experiences.
Yes, and we want to build a community with other Chicanx. We really want to unpack our identities and our past and present day experiences. Most importantly, to have real, meaningful conversations with other Chicanx, to explore the landscape of our Chicanx experiences, and really to pay homage to our ancestors, to disentangle the racialized and ethnicized body.
And just be united.
Be united, have this be the beginning of a community and a conversation.
We are so excited to give this podcast a pulse and to just start and embark on this journey with you. Please don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find us at HijasdlChicanx podcast. That is spelled HijasdlChicanx podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You want to say bye?
That's all. Goodbye, everybody.
That's all. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.